Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back. My name is Tina, also known as Blooming Knitter, and this is Knitting Blooms. I had a very productive weekend last weekend. I did not have a VKN, but I got a lot of knitting done. Since then, I haven't gotten so much knitting done, but I still have a lot to show you from last weekend. I think this weekend will not be the same, but that's only because what I have scheduled. I do have a VKN on Saturday, which by the time you see this, by the time it's posted, VKN will probably be over or just about nearly over. And we have lots of things that we're doing this weekend, including the VKN on Saturday morning, and then hopefully we're going to go to IKEA at some point during the weekend to finally get our bedroom furniture that we have been hoping to get for some time, that we've been waiting to do the floors in the bedroom and then the molding and what have you. And of course, now that we're ready to go and get the furniture, it's snowing and freezing cold, and probably not the best time to go and get it, because we probably are going to have to take Steve's car, which is a hatchback, and the furniture might be sticking out of the back of the vehicle, and IKEA is about an hour away. So yeah, we should have thought about that beforehand, but again, we were not expecting it to be 20 degrees before Thanksgiving, and with 3 inches of snow on the ground. We've got a bunch of snow last night, and then it snowed more today. It's been crazy, and it's been in the the teens to mid-20s since Monday, I think. Anyway, I actually got more knitting done this weekend than I had expected after Kimberly Sock Bunny introduced me to Mini Metro. I think it was last week. It was a new game that she found, and she did a quick little let's play on it, and I watched it, and it is a very cute game. It's a very minimalist game, but it's definitely relaxing. If you are one of those people that likes to play games like Tetris or something like that, where it's kind of, you know, it's repetitive, but it's relaxing at the same time because you don't have to think too much, then you might like Mini Metro. And you should check out Kimberly's Let's Play on her YouTube channel, not her Sock Bunny Knit and Fit channel, but on her Sock Bunny Sims channel. So if you can't find her on YouTube as Sock Bunny Sims, let me know and I can always send you the link. So yeah, I got more knitting done than I expected because I wasn't playing Mini Metro as much as I thought I would, but it did eat into my knitting time quite a bit. So I could have gotten a lot more done. I also want to remind you about the Fall Mystery Knit Along. Like I said last week, all the clues are released, but you still have time to finish your shawl and post it in the finished objects thread. There are not that many finished objects over there yet, people, so you have a very good chance of winning. So get your finished objects posted by the first week in December for your chance to win a prize. It's probably going to be a good prize. Oh, I think I announced last week that it was going to be a gift certificate of $20 to whatever Yarny website you want. And I have finally got the naming of the shawl. I think I closed that thread. I will have to double check. But I have finally decided what I'm going to name the shawl, and it's going to be named Blooming Addiction. And it's based on the different suggestions that were made in the thread. And I had mentioned that I would give whoever suggested the name a Ravelry pattern. And nobody specifically suggested blooming addiction, but there were people that suggested addiction and blooming. The first person to suggest blooming. And then I also said that I would give a gift, a pattern, to the person who had the most loves. So, as it turns out, because there's two people that suggested the name that I combined together, and the first person was Mad Maverick, who is Haley, who also has the Mavericks yarn. I think it's Mavericks yarn. She suggested addiction, and Bettina K1978, who is Bettina, she was the first one to suggest blooming. Now, she may have suggested something else, I think, with it, but the word blooming was in her name. So both of them are going to get a Ravelry pattern of $6 or less. And then there were two people that had the same number of loves. The first one was, and I know she told me how to pronounce this. This is let me think about this. Nieto, KK, or Nina, I think it's Nina 2, KK, which I think are her grandchildren, and her name is Gail. She selected Blooming Lace, and she had 6 loves. So that's Gail. And the next one is Daisy Creations, who is Grace May, and she suggested Blooming Shawl. And she also had 6 loves. So you two will both also receive a pattern, a Ravelry pattern of $6 or less. So all 4 of you are going to receive a Ravelry pattern of $6 or less. So thank you to everyone who made suggestions. It really helped me decide what I was going to name the shawl. So thank you so much for that. Because I really had no clue what I was going to name it. The next thing I want to mention, I want to remind you about basically, is about the drawing for the Graceful Pullover. There is 1 week left, and there will be at least 2 winners. And I say at least, but there's going to be at least 2 winners. I haven't decided if there will be more yet. I probably won't decide until the day that I draw the winners. And most of the drawings, you have to watch the podcast and then contact me when you have discovered that you have won. But in this case, because the designer is trying to raise enough to sell 1,000 patterns before the end of November, I will probably do the episode and send out the patterns right away. I might wait until Saturday next week, because I believe, yeah, Sunday is the last day of November. So I might wait till Saturday evening or Sunday to send out those patterns to the winners, just so that by chance you get the opportunity to watch before I send them to you. Otherwise, you will be surprised when you get the PM, but not so surprised when you watch the podcast. But there will be at least 2 winners for that. We do have some drawings that I'm going to do at the end of the show. So we'll get back to that. We are still doing the Knit Your Stash challenge. Don't forget about doing Knit Your Stash. And start posting your stash for next year if you haven't posted it for this year, so that you can participate next year. And if you have an enormous amount of stash and it is overwhelming to you to try and post it all, then go through your stash, make a plan, for 2015 and upload the stash that you think that you might possibly use in 2015. And then throughout 2015, you can slowly upload the rest of the stuff. I know it's a very daunting task, and if you don't start right at the beginning of when you are building that stash, it can get very overwhelming very quickly. But if you have a plan and you set a goal, then just do it slowly. But you must have your stash in Ravelry by the end of this year for it to count for Knit Your Stash 2015. So let's talk about my knitting. Before we talk about the things that I have worked on, I just want to briefly touch on the things that I haven't worked on. I haven't worked on the felted clogs. I had hoped, I mean, seriously, those things go so quickly, and I should have had a slipper completed, but I got distracted. And I will get to that project that I got distracted on shortly. And I did not work on the Never Shall Meet shawl either. And I wish I had, because I'm getting very excited about seeing my hand spun come through with this pattern. And I just didn't work on it, mostly because I got sidetracked and I didn't. And I'll explain how I got sidetracked and where it went and all of that in a few minutes. The other project that I did not work on, but I did want to give you a very important announcement on this project, and very exciting announcement, is the Knit Swirl Perfect Plum. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with my project, but I did get in contact with the author, Sandra, I want to say it's MacGyver, but I am not sure about that. And I didn't write her name down. But she's the author of the Knit Swirl book. And I just happened to, I was on Ravelry looking at the patterns, and I went over to her her designer page, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to send her a quick PM. You know, and sometimes you may send people PMs and just not expect to receive them back, but at least they get the PM, and you know, they know what you're looking for, you know. So I had PM'd her and said, I would love to have a PDF version of the Knit Swirl book, because if anybody knows me at all, I use Knit Companion for everything. I love Knit Companion. Every single one of my patterns goes into Knit Companion. And that means that if I have a hard copy book and it's not a PDF, then I will scan the pages or photograph the pages or what have you. Anything I have to do in order to get my my pattern in Knit Companion. So whenever I have done a Knit Swirl, I have copied, scanned the pages, and then put them in Knit Companion. So I did contact her and I said, I would really love to have a PDF version of this book. I would be happy to pay another, I think the book is like $35, but I would be happy to pay another $35 to have a PDF version, because it would make my life so much easier. Well, I wasn't really expecting to get a response from her. I was just hoping to kind of give her a little nudge and let her know that, hey, there's people out here in the world that really would like to have a PDF version, because it's not available in PDF. And she did contact me back, and she said, well, I've been thinking about it, and, you know, she gave me the reasons why it wasn't already in PDF version and what have you. And I thought, okay, well, you know, she knows that there are people in the world that want this, and maybe perhaps at some point in the future. And then a few weeks later, she PM'd me again and said she has contacted somebody. They are currently working on a PDF version, and I think, let me see, let me just look it up real quick because I don't want to misspeak, but I think she said that, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Crap. I actually accidentally clicked the log out button instead of my messages. Let's log back in. I think she said that it would be available sometime next year. Okay, she did not give me a date, but she did say she has hired a company to do the e-publication and also a Kindle version. And it is in process now. So she did not give me a date as to when it might be available, but it's exciting that it will be available at some point in the future. So I'm very happy about that, and I know that other people in the world will be happy about that as well if they use Knit Companion. You know, if you don't use Knit Companion, it's not such a necessity, but honestly, if you're not using Knit Companion, why not? You know, if you don't have a tablet, that's one thing. If you don't have an iPad, that's one thing. But honestly, it is the absolute best knitting app that I have ever come across. And I will be talking about another knitting app today as well that came in very handy this weekend. So those are the projects that I haven't worked on, but I do have 4 projects over here that I have worked on. The first project is going to be Ecuador, which honestly I didn't work on until today, but I did work on it. Ecuador is the one where you start with the center back panel and you knit a rectangle and then you start knitting around the edge. So I have done that. I've started barely. I think I have one repeat of the pattern. 1 6-row repeat of the pattern. That's it. And it's going okay so far. You know, you attach as you go. Hopefully that's going to focus. So you attach as you go. And so far, it's looking fine. What was I going to say? Oh, I really wanted to have because I am using a hand-dyed yarn. And so I'm alternating skeins, which is what I did for this section. I probably don't need to alternate skeins, but I'm a little crazy that way where I don't want to take the chance that it's not going, that's going to be a big, like, you're going to see this big line in the knitting when you change the skein. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I am alternating the skeins. I have 3 skeins of this, and I took all 3 skeins and I broke them into 2 balls each, and I mix matched them so that I would have, you know, basically 3 sets of 2 balls. And I really wanted to change the ball at the back, because I thought, okay, well, it can be hidden in that little seam. Then I realized that there are wedges along this outer edge, and the wedges are it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top. So guess what? I couldn't do it the way that I wanted. I started it that way, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't gonna work, because at one point I have to do some short rows starting at the bottom, and it's not gonna work. So I had to cut the yarn there and move it so that it's at the edge down here, which is fine, because it's gonna just be I'm just gonna carry up the outside edge, and nobody's gonna be looking at the hem of my sweater, right? At least I hope they're not looking that close. But I have gotten pretty good about carrying the things up, and you can't really see it all that well. In fact, I carried it up the front edge of my Nantucket Red. So this is moving along. It would have been moving along a lot further had I not started a new project, which is the project that I got distracted with. But I'll share that one with you shortly. Anyway, so yeah, this one's coming along. And like I said, I wish I had had more progress on it, but I just worked on it for a bit today at lunchtime, and that was all I worked on it. The next project are the big monstrous socks that I'm working on for a Christmas gift. And I got some good progress on these, surprisingly enough. So last week, I was right here, and I did a heel, and I'm working up the leg. And I think I probably have about another inch on this leg before I start the blue ribbing. And I have another sock, which I was right there. I did a heel, and I'm working up the leg on this one as well. So this one is obviously a little further along than this one. I was kind of alternating back and forth. I did the heels, what have you, and this one I was just working on, and I just kept going. But yeah, that's quite a bit of work that I got done on those two socks. So both heels and a good portion of the legs. Hopefully these socks will be done next week. But with the limited knitting time that I am expecting in the next week, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I will certainly do my best, because I would really like to have those socks done and have a complete Christmas gift off of my to-do list. It's always good to get those presents completed early. The next project, which I talked to you about last week about starting, are my self-striping socks from Hiawassee Creek. And let me tell you about this yarn. This yarn is so much prettier when it's knit up. So last week I had not started these socks, and this week I have two socks all the way to the heel. I had planned on doing the heel today, but I did not get to them. So two socks to the heel. I'm ready to start the heel. They are both at the exact same point where I need to start the heel on both of them. And I will pull from the outside of the ball to do the heel. So here's the ball. I mean, the colors are very vibrant. And will it focus? The colors are very vibrant, but in the skein, they just are not as pretty. I guess because all the color, now will it focus back on me? I guess because all the colors are kind of jumbled together. Whereas, oh, I have some stevia in my knitting bag and my lip stuff. I guess that's because I had this bag and I was using it kind of like a purse the other day. And I guess the color is so much prettier when they are striped by themselves, because it's just, you just see the blocks of color. But oh my gosh, this yarn is so much prettier after it's knit up. And yes, my socks are matchy-matchy because that's how I roll. I like my socks to be matchy-matchy. But I was saying that I will knit from the outside of the ball to do my heel. So I will leave this bit that I'm knitting with my stripes, I will leave that attached. That won't go anywhere. And I will pick up the other end, which also happens to be orange, I think on both balls. Nope, this one's purple, but I could go to orange. I will pick up the outside of this ball, and I don't care if my heels don't match, but I will pick up the outside string and work my heel from the outside, and then when I'm done with the heel, I will cut that yarn. Yes, it means that I will have more ends to weave in on my socks, but on the front of my socks, my stripe will continue up the front of my sock perfectly, which I'm a stickler about. I don't know why, because honestly, my socks are usually in my tennis shoes and you don't really see the sock running up my foot, but I would know. So, yeah. So 2 socks at the heel, and I should have no problem getting those heels done this week and working up the leg. Now, next weekend, or this coming weekend, on Sunday, we are going to a play. And I'm planning on taking knitting with me, and I usually take socks, but they're really hard to fix. If you drop a stitch in the dark, it's really hard to see. So I was considering taking my knit swirl. Because it's bigger stitches, I only have to decrease on 1 row, and I think it would be pretty much just knit, 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 or purl, 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 or whatever. I haven't decided yet. I have a few days to make that decision, but yeah, I need to decide what I'm gonna take. And socks is what I usually take because it's easy. It's easy to toss into a purse or carry as my knitting bag as my purse, but they are also more difficult to fix if you drop a stitch in the dark. I've been pretty successful at it, but it's sometimes gets very stressful when I do that, because then I'm like, oh, I gotta put it away. I can't figure it out. And then I put it back in my purse, and it sits there, and 5 minutes later I'm like, oh, I just can't stand it anymore. I gotta pull it out and try and fix it. So that's the stressful part. I'm just crazy. And then so I'm pulling it back out and trying to fix it in the dark and trying to see and trying to get enough light, and then I get frustrated again and I shove it back in my purse. Does anybody else do that? I mean, am I just crazy insane? Probably. Anyway, so yeah, I have to decide what I'm going to work on at the play on Sunday, because that's going to be the majority of my time between the virtual VKN on Saturday morning and the play on Sunday. That's going to be my primary knitting time. Okay, so those are my projects that I had already started or talked about prior to today. But I started another project. Okay, so you remember seeing my Nantucket Red, and I had some leftover yarn from that, enough for an entire sweater. And I'm so proud of my hand spun that I just wanted to get another sweater on the needles. And since I had that yarn already, I decided to just get a sweater on the needles. Now, this is a sweater that I have been thinking about knitting, and I actually purchased yarn to make it, but it has a very similar gauge to what I was getting with the knit swirl, or did I say knit swirl? The Nantucket Red. So I thought, I think I have enough for this sweater. And the sweater is the ruched yoke cardigan. No, the ruched yoke tee. And this is what captured my interest this weekend. And look how much I did. I got the whole top section done. And in the last couple of mornings before going to work, I have cast off the sleeves. So here's a sleeve. It's it's kind of sleeveless, but it's got, you know, just a little bit of a cap sleeve. And I have started working down the body. Now, I will tell you that I did not like the wide neckline, so I cast on fewer stitches than what the pattern called for. And when I say fewer, I mean something like, I want to say 20 some stitches less than what they called for. Now, The pattern also calls for cotton, and this is Polwar silk. So it's a lot stretchier. And even as I do this, I'm seeing that this is going to still be quite stretchy. So I still may have to put a crochet edge around the top. So anyway, so I cast on a lot less stitches. So then I had to adjust my increases so that I could reincorporate those stitches. Well, in addition to that, my gauge is a little bit different than what's called for in the pattern. I believe my gauge is around 5.5 stitches an inch, and the pattern calls for 5 stitches per inch. So not only did I have to adjust my increases to accommodate the extra stitches that I didn't cast on at the beginning, but I also had to accommodate for my stitch gauge. And I'm just crossing my fingers that it's going to fit me. Because in addition to that, the pattern has a, I believe it's a size 34 and a size 38. Well, I didn't want a 34 and I didn't want a 38. I wanted kind of like a 36, 37. So then I had to adjust for that. There's a lot of adjusting. But I think I got it. So I want to I've only knit, I don't know, 3-4 rows down from the cast off of the arms. So I want to knit a couple more rows, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my stitches, my sweater, off the needles, put it on waste yarn, and try it on. Now, more than likely, I will wear this sweater over a t-shirt, like a long sleeve t-shirt. Because more than likely I'll be wearing it in the winter, because only when it's cold will I need it, because I'm usually really hot. So that's my plan. I'm gonna knit a few more rows and then take it off, put it on waste yarn, try it on, and make sure it fits. I think it's going to be fine because it is so stretchy, but what I'm most concerned about is that it's going to be too big. That's my main concern, is that it's going to be too big because it is so stretchy. But we will see. Worst come to worst, I have to rip it out and start again. But we know that it's just more knitting time. Yes, it will be a little frustrating, because I did spend almost all day on Sunday doing this. Steve and I sat down to watch some recorded shows on DVR, and I started this sweater, and I just was like, okay, let me just get to the next section, and before I knew it, I had all the sections done. So now, pretty much at this point, it's just plain stockinette all the way down. But the app, excuse me. But the app that I wanted to tell you about is the Knit Evenly app. Now, I've probably mentioned this app before, and I know that other people have mentioned it before as well. I remember Vicky of Dragonfly Soars mentioning it a while ago, like probably a couple years ago. In fact, I think it was her podcast that I decided to download it. But the Knit Evenly app is great because the way that the pattern is written, it doesn't give you specifics on how to increase. It just says increase by X number of stitches. So you have to figure out, well, how am I going to increase by X number of stitches? I have this many stitches on my needle right now, and I have to increase it to this many stitches. Well, the Knit Evenly app is very cool. You put in the number of stitches that are on your needle, you tell it if you are increasing or decreasing, you tell it if you're knitting in the round or knitting flat, and you tell it how many stitches you need to increase. And it will figure out all the math for you. And then you can choose the simple version that's easy to memorize, or you can choose the more advanced version that's more evenly spaced. In both cases, whether you choose the simple version or the more advanced version, there's a little button over to the side that says Guide Me. And so you can click that button once you decide which one you want to use, and then it'll walk you through each one. So if you click on the more complicated, more evenly spaced version, it'll tell you, knit 7, make one. Knit 6, make one. You know, and it'll give it step by step. So then you can do, okay, next, knit 7, it'll say knit 7, make one. So you do that section, and then you click next, and then it'll say knit 7, make one. And then you click next, and then it'll say knit 6, make one, and then you click next. It is awesome. The only thing that you have to remember is that to click that next button. So I found it very useful for this project because not only was I using different number of increases than the pattern called for, but I had different number of stitches, different number of increases, and I didn't want to do the math. So it was perfect. So I have started my sweater, and I am in the stockinette section. Now, I could take this project with me, but again, I'd have to count rows and do decreases and increases for waist shaping, so I'm not sure that this is the project that's going to go with me. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the knit swirl because I can easily do some kind of, figure out some kind of way to do a tally so I can figure out how many rows I'm on and what have you. I don't know. I'll probably end up just taking socks because then I don't have to count, then I don't have to do anything. I just have to worry about dropping stitches. But this is what has kept my attention and what has kept me from knitting on all of my other projects. But that's okay. Because we have weeks like that where we just like, oh, I gotta knit this. So the ruched yoke tee, and now I'm twisting this all around and I'm getting my yarn all twisted and what have you. I have lots of ends so far because you had to start one place and you were alternating and then you had to move to another place, and now I've got lots of ends. Anyway, so I have started, I have a little bit left of one of the balls that I was using when I was doing my Nantucket Red. I have started another ball, and I have one more full ball left. So once I finish this other little tidbit here, then I will start the last ball, and then that will be it. But I think I will have plenty because honestly, it's not like the sweater is forever long. So that's what's been keeping my interest this week. So now I think we are ready to do some drawings. Let me see. Yes. So I haven't done any spinning. I had planned on doing spinning, but spinning got put on the back burner this week. So now we have some drawings. We have a drawing for the Dishcloth Diva ebook, and I had hoped also to start another dishcloth from that book. I wanted to start Olive, but again, got distracted. So the winner of the Dishcloth Diva ebook is Healing Hearts 2, and that is Sandra. So Sandra, congratulations. You are the lucky winner of the Dishcloth Diva Knits On ebook. So contact me to let me know that you've seen the podcast, and then I will contact Knit Ventures, who is the one who will be sending you the ebook version. And I do want to reiterate. In the past, I have always said that you had to be a member of the Ravelry group to win, but that is not the case anymore. I've decided that as long as you're watching the podcast, whether you're a member of the group or not, as long as you are watching the podcast and you are seeing that you are winning, then if you contact me saying, I watched the podcast, I saw that I won something, then you will get that prize. You don't necessarily have to be a member of the Ravelry group. So, if you are not a member of the Ravelry group, because it's just too overwhelming to track that many groups, you can still go in and enter contests and still be have the chance to win. But you must watch the podcast in order to find out that you won. So if you're a religious watcher, then you will always know that you won. because I do not contact winners when they won, except for in the case of something like the Grace Pullover, where it's a fundraiser and I'm trying to help them out as well. So anyway, so Sandra, congratulations. You have won that ebook, so you must contact me, and as soon as you do, I will contact Knit Ventures and have her send that to you. The next prize is for the Knit Your Stash Chatter. And actually, let me pull up my my number generator, because I forgot to write down the numbers in this list. And I didn't write them down here either. Okay, so I'll have to figure it out, but I think it was something like 646 to 671 or something to that effect, somewhere around there, because it's only the new entries that are being drawn from for the chatter. And the winner of the chatter thread for this month, and who wins a $10 pattern of your choice, is, and I'm going to butcher this Ravelry name too, but I will post it here where you can just see it. But it's spelled N-E-N-I-T-A-N-Y-C. And that's Rebecca. So Rebecca, congratulations. You have won a pattern of your choice of $10 or less, or multiple patterns that add up to $10 or less. So get in contact with me. Let me know which pattern or patterns you would like, and I will get those sent out to you. So congratulations on winning that. And the Knit Your Stash finished object thread is always from 0 to current. So it's like I think it was 424 or something like that. Maybe it was more than that. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't write them down. I should have written them down, but I didn't. I will have to update my my sheet here. But the winner of the finished object thread will win this fantastic shawl pin. Now, I have one of these shawl pins, and I love it. So it's this shawl pin. It's by Heart and Hand Designs, and it is very, very cool. And I'm not going to take it out of the package because I think you can see it better in the package. But it's got this nice backing, and then the pin that goes in it. So you kind of push your shawl through a hole here, and then you slide your pin through. But it's very cool, and there's a nice little design on the pin there. So it's beautiful. I love it. I love mine. I have been trying to get this woman to post more on her shop, so I can promote her shop. But she just must have a very busy life, and this is not a huge business venture for her. So unfortunately, you can check out her shop on Etsy, which is heartinhanddesigns.etsy.com, but I can't promise that she will have this shawl pin. But it is beautiful. I love it. I love mine. Very reasonably priced. But the winner of the finished object thread is going to get this. And that winner is Philippa MC. And her name is Philippa. So congratulations. You have won this fantastic shawl pin. I love it. And I can't remember what country Philippa's in. She's out of the US, but I don't think it's going to be that expensive to ship this to her. So I'm going to go ahead and ship this to her, because I think I can put it in a nice padded envelope, maybe a couple together. So Philippa, you have won this fantastic shawl pin. I hope you will like it. So congratulations to all of the winners this week, including those that gave suggestions for my fall mystery knit along shawl. We had lots of winners. But I think that's all I've got for you this week. It's longer than I expected, probably close to 45 minutes. But I had more knitting than I thought. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. I am so glad, again, to be back chatting with you on a weekly basis. And apparently you guys like it too, because you guys are watching the show a lot. And I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the show so much. I feel bad that I haven't produced a tutorial in the last few weeks. And I'm still looking to do another book review soon. But with the holidays coming up, I might just put both on the back burner. Maybe during the holidays, like maybe next weekend during Thanksgiving weekend, if I have some extra time, I might try and produce either a book review or a tutorial or both. But right now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I might just put those both on the back burner until after the holidays. But then it's probably going to be Knitopia Mad Dash. So then it might be put off till after Knitopia. I don't know. I'm going to see what I can do to get it done, because even during Knitopia I would like to have episodes posted. So if nothing else, I will try to get some tutorials in my backlog so that when I'm at Knitopia, which isn't until April, but so that I have some things to post for you while I'm gone at Knitopia. And I do hope to be able to post something while I'm there, but as in the past, internet connection is not the best, and it's not that easy to upload while I'm there. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you, and as always, if you have any questions, you know, that you want to ask me, please feel free. I know a few people got in contact with me this week, and I have tried to get back to them. I did see a post today that kind of asked where the best place to ask a question is. And I'm going to try. I haven't gotten back to her yet because I was just on my phone and I just kind of glanced at it real quick. But the best place to ask me a question is on Ravelry. I know I get a lot of PMs on Ravelry, but if I have them on Ravelry, they're all in one place, and I can answer them easily. Either that or YouTube. Usually about once a week, I sit down and look at all the current or the new posts on YouTube, the new comments. So either YouTube or Ravelry. And like I said, about once a week I try to look at both of them. So if I don't get back to you right away, it might be because maybe I just checked the comments or the PMs. So don't hold it against me if I take a little bit of time to get back to you, because I do get a lot of comments and I do get a lot of PMs. But I do try to get back to everybody at least within a week. I can't always promise that, but that's what I try to do. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great Thanksgiving for those of you that are in the United States next week. A great Thanksgiving. I am looking forward to having some fantastic food. I'm totally off the THM diet on Thanksgiving Day, so I'm having potatoes, which are totally not on plan. Pretty much, potatoes and stuffing are like no on plan. And sweet potatoes. I can have sweet potatoes, but the marshmallows and the brown sugar and all the stuff that goes into sweet potatoes, yeah, that's not exactly on plan. But on Thanksgiving, I am just going to eat what I want. And maybe one other day on that weekend. And then I'll go back to my THM. Anyway, I'm going to try and end this episode. I will talk to you next week, and it will probably be on Thanksgiving or on Friday that I actually record, but it will still be posted on Saturday morning for your viewing pleasure. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.
As always, thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to contact me with your comments or suggestions, as I am always trying to improve the show. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube as Blooming Knitter. You can also find me on Plurk, Twitter, and Pinterest as Blooming Knitter, but I don't frequent those sites as often. I post show updates on Twitter and Facebook, and sometimes to Google Plus and Plurk. I am Miss Aerobics on MyFitnessPal and Fitbit. You can always find all the old episodes as well as links to the tutorials on the blog at www.knittingblooms.com. And you can also follow the show on Facebook. You can email me at knittingblooms@gmail.com, and show notes can be found at knittingblooms.com.